Welcome to the Beard Me That Beer podcast. I'm David.
I'm Sham.
And welcome to episode number 28. And the fourth and final in our Brews Brothers Netflix original series review. It's so unsettling. What are you eating there, dude?
Some brownies.
They're actually not brownies. They're half cookies.
Fuck
half
you, they're brownies.
They're not. They're not brownies. 100% they're not.
I don't care.
So yeah, final episode of, or final in the series of the Brews Brothers Netflix original series review, episodes 7 and 8. But first, the beer. And I have some beer from Evans Brewing Company. Pollen Honey Blonde Ale, which I think is going to be absolutely delicious.
And this is like probably my favorite can that I've seen.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, has a bee, has some hives, has all that good stuff. Has a map on the end, on the other side that has, like, I guess a map of where bees are.
In the world?
Well, in California.
Like
so Western honeybee, Collet-eyed honeybee research facility near San Francisco, beeswax, California honey is great. Apis mellifera on Andrandia honeybee, the bee's knees.
Oh, yes, they
Temecula
are.
Valley, and near us is the Mecca, whoa.
Godzilla.
Mecca King Ghidorah. Mecca. Wow, I can't say this.
Are you okay?
It's actually Mecca Chili.
Let me look it
Chilade
over.
honeybees.
Where hold on.
The
Let me check
one.
you.
Mecca Chilade. Mecca Chilade. It's not easy.
Mecca Chili Day.
Chilade. Okay. But yeah, pollination. I keep wanting to say pollination nation, but it's pollination honey.
Pollen.
We
nation.
need more honey. Worker bees put in overtime to get the orange blossom honey we need to put into this ale. The perfect balance of honey flavor and aroma, with a light body and hint of honey left on the tongue. We are a fan of these worker bees. Therefore, we are the pollination. 5.2%. Brewed and bottled by Evans Brewing Company in Corona, California.
My honey.
My honey. Okay, my honey. This next one is Bueller's Day IPA, and it's got Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off with the car, with him on it.
Simba himself.
A tropical IPA. Bueller. Could you be expected to handle work with a fresh beer like this? Crack open a can, feel the tropical breeze blow across your face. Heavy doses of Citra and Mosaic draft across your nose. Aromas of sweet citrus, grapefruit, mango, and passion fruit. If you don't enjoy this beer fresh, Cameron might go berserk. 6.5%. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and drink a Bueller's Day IPA once in a while, you could miss it.
Wow, they're really leaning into... Well, I mean, you could pick a worse movie to go for.
You could pick Congo movie.
I was gonna say, did Matthew Broderick bless this beer?
I know, because they're using his likeness, but the artwork on a can is kind of up in the air.
I mean, he's faceless, so maybe that's cool. No,
Evans Brewing Company. Yeah. So far their cans are awesome.
They're killer.
Yeah.
I like it.
They don't have an about me on their website, but here's a little something from their website. Our original brewery, established in 1994, was the oldest craft beer in Orange County and was one of the oldest in all of Southern California. With our lease ending at the end of 2019, Evans Brewing Company relocated to a much bigger location in Corona, California. With an annual capacity in excess of 25,000 barrels in the tasting room, Evans Brewing Company finally has the room to grow with the ability to showcase our core and special releases to our customers face to face. Something we had not been able to do for 15 years, as we never had the space for a tasting room in our old Irvine location. So they were in Orange County. And according to Google, Fullerton, California is where they were. Obviously right now, things are a little up in there with COVID, but it says they are open. But they close at 8. What'd you try? The honey?
Yeah. My honey.
My honey.
My honey.
Okay, my honey.
I do for you.
I give you special offer, honey.
Oh my gosh. It's good. I like. Oh, hello.
All right, Pollination Nation. Pollination.
It seems
It's not as sweet as it should be. For
I would think it
sure.
was more sweet. It's kind of a mellow flavor.
It definitely hits the end of, like, after you drink it, there's a little bit of honey taste.
It is
But I
present.
wish it was more like mead. Just because when you hear honey, you expect honey and not just a dash. I think with mead, it's just honey alcohol. And it's thick, but not thick like honey.
Viscous.
Speaking of honey, there's a... I got this like a couple weeks ago at the grocery store. There was it's called spicy honey, and it's just like honey, chili honey. But I found out how much it was on Friday when I went to the grocery store again. $10 for a fucking bottle of hot honey.
Come again?
$10. I'll come again for sure. $10 for a bottle about this big.
So like a 10-ounce bottle.
Honey. I still am going with the first one to buy another one, but that's the last bottle. $10. I mean, honey, yeah, is expensive.
Not $10
But
expensive.
yeah, it's just not worth it. I feel like I can get honey cheaper and then just put like hot sauce in it.
So like a bottle of honey, like your typical bottle of honey, I would think like maybe like $6.
Yeah, but
$5-6
I mean,
bucks.
this was in the bougie cheese section of Ralph's. So it's a spread.
Bougie cheese section of Ralph's.
Hella was bougie. But the spicy honey is good on everything. Is it citrusy and tropical and refreshing?
I'm just smelling it.
Yes, it is. It smells like an IPA. It smells like a Citra IPA. And ooh, that is really not that bitter. Doesn't pack a big punch. Kind of just like rolls on you. Really, really tropical, really citrusy, really fresh. Has a little bit of bitter after a while, but not a hard punching IPA like most IPAs.
Yeah,
That's really good.
It's not like what I'm used to, where it's like that upfront aggressive.
It's not aggressive at all.
yeah.
It's soft.
It doesn't slap you with
Yeah.
IPA.
It's like Sour Patch Kids. Like, oh hi, I'm your friend, and then punches you a little.
I was gonna say, I was like, it doesn't taste like that, but I get what you mean. It's
It softens the blow, but there is still a little bit of a blow later.
It is a subtler IPA
It's what Ferris Bueller would drink.
in a pleasant way.
Actually, he wouldn't drink because he's in high school.
He shouldn't drink.
He shouldn't.
Children don't drink.
I mean, he was sober when. I mean, his buddy drove the car, right?
Out of spite, he drove his dad's car out of. Why would you? All right, yeah. Why would you park your car inside of your house?
Because you're an asshole.
Like not in a garage, like in the house, next to a glass window
Yeah.
over.
You're an asshole. I'm sure it was a Ferrari, right?
I can't remember. I just remember a nice car.
Yeah, it was a nice car. Anyways, now we're ready for our topic. And I'm kind of sad that this is ending because this show finally I got in stride. And I think 7 and 8 were some of the best episodes out of this series.
This is a series that definitely gets stronger as it goes along. Like
I feel like the first 2 episodes you kind of just had to watch out of pure information.
just to get the setup and like.
And 3 through 5 were, for me, they were fillers.
Well, I mean, like
it was so slice of life.
filler in the sense that like
But
it felt unnecessary. Like you didn't need it.
It's slice of life. That's what the series is kind of, but it wasn't like funny enough or ironic enough to be slice of life for me. But 7 and 8 hit it out of the park.
Dude, you should like oil these chairs.
Well, if you locked it, it wouldn't do that. You can't hear it on the mic. So yes, the Brews Brothers Netflix original series, episode 7 and 8 review, and we start with episode 7 called Crackba.
I don't know. Okay, between 7 and 8, one of these was my favorite episode of the series. I'm not sure which one because they're both really good.
Might be my favorite just because ends, and we'll get there. But I think whatever twist we thought was even bigger. 7 was funny because they just had like everything you thought about what comedy could be was just like, no, let's make it a little more awkward. And there's some awkward stuff in here. Directed by Robert Cohen, written by Steve Joe, created by Greg Schaffer. Here's a Netflix summary. Wilhelm serves a biker crew that endorses one of his beers with a curious sense of pride. Meanwhile, Sarah finds her artistic voice.
Is that where'd you pull that summary from?
Every summary I've been reading off it's from Netflix. It's when
that's the Netflix description.
When you, hit play and then pause it and it goes into a screen, like that screensaver kind of thing. It says the summary.
That is a perfect description of this episode.
The first perfect description, because none of the other descriptions were very good.
It's a perfect description without showing all your cards, because it tells you what's going to happen, but not the particulars. Like, it would still be surprising to watch.
And this episode was really good.
Yeah. No, I definitely, everybody had a moment where I was like, you understand what they're doing with that character. I'm like, oh, this is really good. And we're seeing more of the interactions that we've been coming to see, especially towards the tail end of the show. It's just all the characters kind of coming into their own.
And I think it feels more natural.
Yeah.
No one's forcing anything. And it just kind of all right, here's the ball, and then you take the ball and you give it some. It's just natural feeling.
The cracked ball.
Crack ball. And we'll tell you what crackball is in a couple minutes.
Still don't understand how you play that.
Yeah. But. So, Chewy has a good way of saying it. So we start with Becky and Elvis are back from Vegas, and it's very awkward between Adam because Adam, I guess, broke up with
that was really funny when Will just happened to be this oh, I'm glad I was here for this reunion.
Will's I can't wait.
Is talk. Get into it. Give me the deets.
Becky's oh, your brother's a great lover. And if you don't remember, Adam and Elvis made love, but not Adam and Becky. And Becky said that he was good around the balls and the shaft. Will asked Becky and Elvis how they party so hard, but stay so beautiful.
That was a pretty good line,
and
too.
Elvis says regular enemas, organic foods. But Becky says it's regular enemas with organic foods. And then Will asks about truffles, and they tell him, oh, last time we saw him playing poker in Vegas, and they show a scene with him playing poker and doing blow. And even doing blow, he gives off these notes of how the blow tastes. PCP notes with baby laxative.
And I think they mentioned that he self-eloped too or something.
So he married himself to himself, and then he climbed up the Luxor in Vegas, the pyramid. We then see a shot of Sarah riding a scooter in the street, one of those stupid rent-a-scooters, I think. When some guy parked in his car opens the door and
nearly hits her.
Not really nearly hits her. She stopped. So if she didn't stop
would have been
and hit it, but she was okay, then I would say it nearly hit her. But the guy says, sorry, sweetie. Sarah then kicks the mirror off this classic car, and she looks totally awesome doing it.
Because he aggressively drops a sweetie.
Yeah.
She's whoa, you didn't get hurt? Real.
Yeah. He's a real ass about it. He could have gone to totally different other ways to do it. But she's also wearing all denim. She wears a denim jacket and denim jeans, and she's rocking it.
I made a note of that, too.
I fucking love it.
I was wow.
More people need to do that. Sarah also has the look of, she can pull it off.
That denim.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
Aesthetic.
We then have Will asking Sarah about her anger issues, because if you can't tell, she's an angry person, which I thought was kind of just her character, but they made it a big deal in this episode.
It seemed more like a minor trait in the previous stuff, but this one they really called more attention to it. I didn't think she had
anger issues. I think she was just angry.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was... But kicking a mirror off a door, I guess, would make you have anger issues.
But again, that was this is the first time we really see anything like that from her. Other than... every other time she kind of blows up in the show, I was okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But that seemed, in this instance, okay, maybe you took it a little farther than you needed.
Yeah. So then Becky and Elvis talk about how Sarah could go to art classes with them and art therapy kind of thing. Some woman comes into a brewery asking to speak to the owner, and I thought this woman was going to go full Karen.
I kind of got that vibe a little bit
She was
too.
asking, but then Will thought it was like the owner of that car kind of thing.
It was like a matter of timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this woman's name is Heidi, and Heidi and Will actually start flirting over his beer called Weisspower. He shows off some of his German speaking skills, and all while they're flirting, Adam is sitting with Sarah watching this and I guess commentating, and he's
Commentating and like giving his forecast of like he's
him
like
coming, them having sex,
his
him
flirting.
coming, he passes out, then comes
Proposing.
again, and then she proposes to him, and he says, "Yeah, let's do it."
like real graphically too. I'm like,
It was a good 30 seconds of him just telling.
when he was doing that, I kind of like, I'm like, after her little like outburst earlier, I was like, is she gonna like punch him in the face or
she
something?
was not
or-
happy. One, because she's obviously likes Will, and two, gross. She doesn't need to hear that.
No.
Period. Even she doesn't like.
And
Will.
he's just obnoxiously explaining it.
Three,
to her
Adam's
face.
a fucking dick and just shouldn't talk. Yeah, but I noted that Sarah seemed very annoyed.
On top.
I think it was just like like they really tried to make it look like she had some anger issues. The guy with the car comes back and Sarah confronts him. He says he's going to make you, but then Sarah judo flips him over and like hard. And then she's like, "What are you gonna do now, Red Thor?"
I love that line.
Because he has red hair, but he's got long red hair and he's a big dude.
What are you gonna do now, Red Thor? You okay, sweetie? Or what did she say? She said something. She dropped the sweetie
Something
on
about
it too.
Sweetie, but then he's like, "Oh, I thought we would just exchange insurance and our insurances would handle it."
It's like,
oh. And then she asked Becky Novus, "When are those art classes?" Because she finally figures out that
like, I have a problem.
she should probably have some sort of outlet. So yeah, Becky knows. Their painting is very hands-on,
in a way, in a matter of speaking.
physically hands-on. I forget what it's that brewery that painting's called, Ejaculation #1 or something, but it's like a painting of soup. And then
I didn't catch the name. Was that what they called it?
Something like immaculated.
Just like,
ejaculation
it was a lot.
#1.
She was like, a lot less genital.
Graphic or-
Yeah. Surprisingly, the same amount of cans though.
So Sarah's like, "Oh, that's a lot less graphic." But then they show her how they do it, and it's basically Becky and Elvis and the art teacher. The art teacher and Becky put paint on Elvis's dick and jack him off onto the painting.
Now, is that what they were doing? Because I couldn't tell if it was that or if like they were just like putting paint on it, and then he was just like.
Well, at the end he comes, so.
Well, I just thought it was like part of it.
It might be a combination of they jack him off and swipe him across it like a paintbrush, and then when he comes, that's. Anyways, it's weird. It's really weird. Back at the brewery, some bikers come into the brewery. One of them is related to Heidi. Norris is
her uncle.
Her uncle, yeah. And they love Weisspower too. And they are a gay biker club.
And you learn that pretty much immediately.
They have
he's absolutely
the rainbow cross on their jackets, but then we really confirm it when Will says, "Oh, gay biker club."
Well, I thought it was like the uncle saying, "Is like, oh yeah, this is Will, the one you're talking about. Oh, he's totally what's his face this time."
Yeah, I thought they were just they were just joking around.
I was like,
but it was confirmed by Will when he said it. The bikers love Will's love for Germany too, because he goes off about speaking German and about. He has socks and steins and all that. They kind of act really lame to Chewy. He's like, they call him muchacho, and he wants a round, and they call him stupid. But Chewy plays it off perfectly. He just starts laughing. And psychotically for like 20 seconds, and pours a beer into a mug and while laughing. It was hilarious. I don't want this beer. I want to finish this beer.
But I want that beer.
You have it right there.
No, I want that beer.
No, that's mine. COVID.
What?
Nothing. So Adam follows Will to his room where he's getting all the German stuff, and he's like, he wants them to leave because he thinks it's really weird how they're treating Chewy, which is great because I feel like Adam would be the last person to to show that he cares.
Yeah, I felt like that was nice. I'm like, okay, so he feels. I'm like, oh, he's like a human being.
Yeah,
This feels like a real person
yeah.
reaction.
Will kind of just thinks that
Shrugs
Adam
him
is
off.
being jealous. And then we find out that Will farts every time he's confronted, and he's called Squeaker because Adam points at him and yells at him, and he farts. It's hilarious. It's pretty funny. So we have then Sarah coming back from art class. She likes the art therapy class. She shows off her first painting, and it's her in a UFC MMA ring with holding the ripped off head of I guess her opponent. And then Chewy's like, "Oh my god, did that actually happen?" And she's like, "No, that's what I wanted to do.
I just choked her out." Yeah,
but it's pretty. It's not a bad painting. It's
I mean, it's certainly better than any of ours.
our stuff is good though. Norris, the gay biker uncle, loves the painting. He wants to buy it. He's like, it's Warhol meets MMA.
Did you say MMA? I thought he said anime.
I thought he said MMA.
I thought he said anime.
Oh no, it's MMA because it's mixed martial arts.
Yeah, but it's anime has 2D artwork.
Animes can be 3D too, though.
But there's been like MMA / wrestling anime.
Okay. Warhol meets MMA. He also likes it that he's beating up that broad.
Another sign that maybe something might be off.
Because in the painting, it's a darker colored person that Sarah beat.
But it's the way he says
Yeah.
it. You're like, okay.
Chewy in the background is spitting on the bottle to give to Norris.
Okay, quick note about that. I had a
putting
really
boogers into it.
negative reaction when he started like emptying his nose into the bottle. I'm like, ugh. And then on top of like licking the rim of the top of the bottle, it's like I literally had to like look away.
It's pretty hardcore. He does not get away with really fucking around with someone's beer. It's pretty awful. Then Will's talking more about German stuff, and then Crackball comes up, and he shows them a YouTube video about Crackball. Stojan, the creator of Crackball, has a sweet tracksuit.
It's pretty out there.
An orange tracksuit. I think it's like cashmere or
I have no idea.
velvet or whatever.
And
And he has super good girlfriend. And,
that he won through crackball or something. He's like, oh,
and he
I
has
made
like
great game.
And he has like a sweet orange car. Crackball is a game basically kind of like rugby, but non-contact.
It's like
and a ball about 10 times bigger.
It's like rugby meets handball meets like
beach volleyball.
Like and like I don't know.
There's
I couldn't quite comprehend exactly what they were doing.
It's like a field, and at each end you just have to throw the ball into your opponent's rectangle box to score. But you can do straight scoring or over behind your back.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it was like because you could throw it particular ways, and I'm like, is that just a pass or is that the score or like?
Yeah, if you pass it to someone and they miss and it lands in there, is that a score?
I don't know. I felt like that needed more explaining, but that was fine.
Yeah. Halftime is snack time, beer and warm cheese.
And it was like some kind of like traditional fish herring.
Herrings to dab your sweat.
Was that what that was? Yeah. I was like, I thought that was to eat.
No, they dab their sweat with herring. Oh, super fantastic.
That's worse. Is it just me, or did you notice like his accent was like all over the place?
Oh my god!
I was like, where is he from? Where is he supposed to be from?
It's really funny. It's all over the place. It's super fantastic time.
And like super shoddy green screen work in there. I'm like, so him and the girl are green screen, and the players are actually in the.
He was never there. Like he's always been green screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, the best part was Chewy says he can't wait to play the sport. He says it's like soccer, but you get to use your hands, and it sucks. And I was like, oh, classic Chewy mislead. That was like my favorite line. But because he sells it so, dude, I can't wait. This is awesome.
He sounds so excited going in.
Soccer, but you get to use your hand, and it sucks. Golden. So then Heidi wants Will to show her how to make beer. We're not saying Heidi
Is not a fan of beer.
We're just saying she's super attractive and a fan of beer. Adam and Chewie find out that the biker club are Nazis.
In the best way.
Yeah. Because, all right, I'll just explain the scene. Norris has a tattoo of a stick figure kneeling, and his bottom legs look like a swastika, like the bottom part.
And mind you, he's got the sleeve of his shirt is covering the
it's
top
just
half,
showing the bottom, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's a Nazi." Then Norris kind of like he's scratching his arm and lifts up the sleeve all the way, to at least all the way we think, and it's just a stick figure kneeling.
And
Adam's like, "Oh, I feel so bad calling him a Nazi. He's just a good guy." Norris then takes his shirt off. He has a wife beater on. And the stick figure kneeling is waving a Nazi or a swastika
holding
flag.
a flag, which is like, I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, oh, they faked us out, and
so
it was
good.
double fake out.
Yeah, because they are Nazis. Heidi and Will are about to have sex. She dresses up as a traditional girl beer tender from Germany.
Traditional girl.
I forget. There's a girl on a
that
beer
common
bottle
bedroom fantasy.
that Adam mentions. But Adam comes in saying, "We got to talk. We got to talk." And Will is half naked. Heidi is,
He was like 90% naked.
they were about to have sex. But good for Will, because she is very attractive. And a good actor. She plays off her character very well. He pulls Will aside and they're Nazis, and then Will just doesn't believe it, and he fuck off, and I don't want to hear this. Will goes back to Heidi, and Heidi's like, "What did your brother want?" And Will's like, "Don't mention him. Nothing."
Back to business.
They start making out, and then Will's like, "Oh, he thinks your uncle and his friends are white supremacists." Heidi's like, "They are," all nonchalantly. And then Will's like, "Are you?" And she's like, "I dabble."
And he just pause. It makes him pause. Like,
Yeah. But here's the thing. We don't know if they finished or not.
I mean, they don't explicitly say or show. So
And she looks a little pissed later on, but I think Will still had sex with her.
I don't think it matters. But, speculate if you want.
Good for him. The next scene is Chewie soaking his ball sack into Norris's beer.
Not the most pleasant imagery.
Because they actually show... It's not a real ball sack, but they show
But do we know?
Yeah, it's 25% of the bottom half of the ball sack. So it's where the balls are actually balls with a little bit of pube, and he's washing them down and doing turns. And I noted that Sam would not like it. And then when he puts it on the plate, it has a bunch of pubes. Adam comes by and he's like, "Oh, great! I need this beer." Because he's a little stressed out from fighting with Will. So he drinks Chewie's ballsack pube beer, and Adam's like, "Wait, this is amazing! It's so musky."
Meanwhile, as he's grabbing and going for the sip, Chewie's like, "No!" It's like
Chewie doesn't really do anything to stop it, but yeah,
he starts, but then he's like, "Fuck it."
Yeah. So yeah, it's musky and thick ballsack beer. We then go back to a shot of Sarah with the art group.
Seeming as though she's like, "Oh, this is actually working for me."
They tell her that it's not working for them.
Just because, the stuff she's painting is disturbing to them.
And making people uncomfortable. She then snaps a painting brush in front of them. Then we go back to the brewery. Will and Adam are talking, and they do this really fun bit where it's Will tells Adam, "Hey, you got a hair in your mouth," and then Adam picks the beer, and then he's like, "You have a hair in your mouth too." After Will had drank some of Adam or Chewie's ballsack beer,
and they do that below the eyelash kind of.
Below the eyelash. Hey, what are the chances? So Will kind of Norris calls Will over. Hey, come play with us. And then Will does like a wave, but it really looks like a salute.
That's right.
Like a Nazi salute. And then he's like, I'll be right there. And then all the bikers turn around to Will and do
the hail Nazi salute.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, they gotta go.
Yeah. So then Will's like, wants to kick him out. Norris is just an asshole. He comes up, one of the founders, I think it's Matt. He's African American, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing in here?" And he's like super like I'm a founder. I'm drinking beer. Like, get the fuck away. And then the other founder's like, "Hey, we don't want any trouble." And then
it's like, be an ally, man. He's like, be an ally, man.
And he's like, black power.
Too much.
And then Will comes by and says, "You guys got to leave." And Norris is like, "You're being homophobic," and it's like, not because you're gay, it's because you're white supremacist. Because
you're a piece of shit.
The Nazis thought Will and Adam were white supremacists because of their Weiss power,
the beer,
because it sounds like white power. But then Will's like, "No, it's a white is a type of beer," and Will said it's the strongest beer, white beer he's ever made. It's really a terrible name to begin with.
I mean, that should have been nipped in the butt.
Yeah. Chewie comes in looking like a white face. He has a bunch of...
because I didn't quite understand what he was
trying
doing.
To shit into the miller with all the grain going in.
I see.
And something breaks and he goes in, but then like he's covered in grain. Sarah comes in saying our class finished early, and it goes back. This is by far the best acting I've ever seen in my entire life on a show on Netflix. She basically destroys all the artwork. I guess kind of beats up people and throws paint everywhere, but she's like insane. She looks like a rabid animal, and it's hilarious. She's just like she's breaking everything. She destroys everything. Yeah, she looked possessed. It was awesome. The racists won't leave, so they settle this by playing crackball. If Will's team wins, the racists leave. If Norris's team wins, they get Rodman's.
The traitors leave, and that's their new hangout spot.
Leave.
I was like, I don't know if that would work that way.
Yeah, this should be like $10,000 to Will.
Yeah.
And Sam mentioned the Stogan really bad green screen because he's there.
He's inexplicably there.
Yeah, he's like sitting on top of the brewery, really awfully green screened. I mean, we kind of saw this coming. Will's team won, but Sarah judo flips Will with the ball into the scoring to win, and it counts as a back behind your back throw because she basically threw Will. Then the bikers leave. And that's the end of episode 7. Great episode.
Very good.
Super fantastic.
And also, I'm like, is it Stojan? Yeah, he just poofs.
Yeah.
Like figment of the imagination. I'm like, why were you even?
Yeah. It was crazy.
That was funny.
Stojan's a good character. I feel like he might have been like a secret director or secret. I don't know who Stojan played, but maybe I have it.
He could have been like a comedian they liked or something, or someone's brother.
But his character was crazy
goofy.
Funny.
He felt okay for everybody that's seen like Dodgeball. He felt like classic Patches O'Houlihan. He had that kind of vibe, just kind of like cartoony, like doesn't exist.
He's like kind of like Patches and Steve the Pirate.
Yeah, that kind of character. It just seemed like I'm like you're not a real person.
Yeah. Like, are we high?
Yeah.
Are we on drugs?
Oh, man.
Great episode. I thought one of the better ones.
Well, at least to that point. That's easily my favorite.
Point. It was out there, but not like in a sense that it was too out there. But I'm trying to find Stogan.
Are you looking him up?
I'm looking it up. John DeLee. Oh, this guy looks weird.
DeLee? Spell it.
Daly. Whoa.
Daly? Daly. Dally.
That could be Dally. What have we known him from?
Are you looking up his filmography?
Yes, I am.
IMDb.
He was in Zoolander 2.
As a male model.
As Agent Filippo.
Felipe.
Yeah.
Really? An agent?
Yeah.
I guess I haven't seen Zoolander 2, though, so...
I haven't seen either. He was in Parks and Rec. He was a drunk.
What? Drunk number 5?
Drunk/John 3 episodes. I gotta go watch Parks and Rec now.
Oh, no.
Nick Swanson's okay.
He was
Batman.
Nick Swanson?
He was Batman and Nick Swanson's pretend time. Terry from Reno 911.
I know who Nick Swartzen is. Not from Reno 911, just as a comic.
I mean, he was perfect in Reno. He was in BoJack Horseman.
I like him in Benchwarmers.
He's a voice person in BoJack.
I didn't watch that.
He was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
As who? Like a criminal?
Brian Applebaum episode, The Funeral.
The Funeral. Scanning. The Funeral. Oh, that's when the new captain dies and they all go to the funeral. Is it that one? He goes to the funeral and he's probably one of like the dudes.
He's a New Girl. Wow. American Dad.
I really like this leap we took into this rabbit hole of just this actors
Modern Family work. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh.
Cool. That's episode 7. Shall we go to episode 8?
Episode 8, the season finale. It's Cicerone.
Cicerone. We're now on to episode 8. The final.
The finale.
Finale.
Cicerone. It's Cicerone.
It's Cicerone, you assholes. It's called The Trink. Which I thought was a terrible...
Going into it, I was like...
last episode... What's happening? I was very confused, and after I watched the episode, I thought it was a terrible, terrible name.
I understand, like, after seeing it, I'm like, okay, I get it. But I'm like going in blind, I was like, this sounds like...
I thought...
a slur or something.
Well, I watched this last episode like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, I think a better one would have been Would the Real Evans Brewery Please Stand Up?
What?
And you'll get to learn after watching the episode in this summary.
What?
Directed by Dale Stern.
It should have been the self-titled episode.
Rodman's Brewery.
No, the Brews Brothers.
That was a good one too. Written by Greg Schaffer, created by Greg Schaffer. Before the brewery gears up for a big beer festival, Wilhelm and Adam must decide between business
and pleasure,
brotherhood. And that's the Netflix summary. We start in a whole new location that we have not seen, and it's a room full of steins.
Oh, right.
Adam's new apartment.
New digs.
And that's all his furniture.
I like the line he gives. He's like, I'm only sad that I didn't have enough space to put all my steins in. And then it's just like, it goes to like a montage
walls of
everything.
Bookcases, walls of steins. It's awesome. It's cool that how much shit he has.
It's just floor to ceiling steins.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Rodman's is killing it. Chewy says his buddy in Idaho is selling 6-packs of Weiss Power for $100. He also found out his buddy in Idaho is a Nazi.
Also surprised to know, yeah. Interesting.
Keeping the jokes fresh. Adam has one piece of furniture that is a chair, and it's his thinking chair.
It's his everything chair.
And then, Sarah makes like, oh, it's not where's your pretentious asshole chair? And
same chair.
Like, it's the same chair. Truffles is a giant dick.
Randomly
shows up. And he gave an STD to Becky, who will then give it to Elvis. Fuck this guy, dude. He was like the oddball, the wild card, but now he's just a dick.
Yeah, and you find out he was like, oh yeah, I tried to return to the monastery, but I got excommunicated
because he broke too many vows and he had sex with a turtle. And now he's forcing himself into Adam's home.
Basically.
Fucker. Rodman's is looking to hire new crew.
With business going so well, fuck my brownie.
They're getting ready for a beer festival. Adam says he hopes the beer tent is big enough Will says he hopes the beer tent is big enough for Das Trinkpendel, a.k.a. The Trink, which is the name of the episode, a.k.a. The Drinking Pendulum.
You okay?
Yeah, burp.
Was that a burp?
It was a burp, like, where I had beer still in my throat and I had to swallow it.
It sounded like it came from like lower.
No, it was my throat.
I thought you just made like hunger pains or something.
No.
I was like,
it was
your stomach?
It was a burp but I had beer right here, so I had to kind of like swallow it all together.
It's like a chameleon burp. It's like
Come a
chameleon.
You come and go.
I didn't know. I was like, is he gonna leave it?
Come.
Oh wow!
It's from The Office.
No, it's not.
I know.
Where's
where
it from
it's
first?
George Michael. Yeah, even Sam didn't know that.
Careless Whisper Zone. Wham.
False. So yeah, they're getting ready for this beer festival, and this drinking pendulum is basically a backpack you wear with a pendulum on it, and you put your beer in this hole, and you kind of have to like use your hands to pulley it into your mouth. And I can see it. We're going really wrong where you do it really hard and it just slams glass into your face, which sounds hilarious.
It's just the most ridiculous looking contraption.
There's this game. Your feet are so fucking big.
Stop doing the accidental footsies. You're barefoot and I got sandals, which is basically barefoot. Dude. Stop.
I just rubbed my fungus on it.
Ew.
No, I have clean feet. I have cleaner feet than Sam's hair.
Which is on my feet.
Just not that clean. That hat has never been washed, has it?
It has.
17 years and never been washed. He's had that hat since I've known him.
No.
Truth.
No. I've had multiple of this style hat.
I know that. You bought the same hat over and over again.
No. That's
I've
what I
seen
do
that
with
brand.
That's what I do with my shorts. But the ones you recall, they were reversible. Because the first one I had was black and then purple on the inside. And then the second one I had was black and brown.
I don't remember any of those.
Well, are you really my friend then? Because a real friend would know.
Then you have no real friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's the sweetest thing you've ever said to me.
I think I'm getting emotional.
All right, back to So Will and Adam are conducting interviews because they need to hire people because they're super busy. They immediately hire some lady, and she's happy to work. She's excited to work at the brewery that makes Weiss Power. So then they're like, "You got to go." They're like,
if the last episode was an indicator.
Yeah, you got to go. You got to leave. So they don't hire her. Then they bring back the homeless man from the first.
They didn't catch at first that he was the homeless man.
It wasn't because the homeless man is wearing a suit.
Because he cleans up nice.
But he's still homeless.
He's still garbage.
So then he remembers him. The fucked up part is this homeless guy is like, "Oh, can you write down my references?" And he says, "Oh, Jeffrey Epstein." And then Adam's like, "Oh, he's some kind of sex trafficker, right?"
Oh, he's more he's an island guy.
Oh, so fucked up.
Very topical.
Where did he get the suit?
Tropical. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, did you raid that from like a trash can or something?
So then he leaves. They then interview Truffles, and in German, Truffles says he doesn't care whose scrotum he needs to suck on, but he needs this job. Will then tells Adam that he said he will be a team player and will work very hard. He's hired.
Which he immediately takes as like permission to just take over the interview.
Or what does he call it?
Interrogations. It's like, we're not interrogating people.
So then Sabrina shows up, the one from a couple episodes, from episode 6, I believe, that says, "Hey, we want to be your distributor," but she brings the vice president of the company she works for, called Tempest Brands. So it's a big, conglomerate. It's a branding company that handles basically distribution, but they buy out,
as Adam says, wine.
Yeah, grape juice.
They make grape juice. Yeah.
They mainly work with wineries. So you as this big company, you just buy out smaller wineries, and then you have the distribution, you have the marketing, you have all that working for you, but you got to cut costs somewhere, which usually goes to the beverage, because servers and people that work at breweries and wineries are already paid low enough that you can't really cut them, so you got to go for the ingredients to make craft beer or wine into
So basically,
a cheaper version of what it's supposed to be.
They're just like the embodiment of the corporate machine,
The megacorp
taking the soul out of the work.
Yeah, the VP threatened to buy the brewery. He says Rodman's would still be ran by Adam and Will, but there'd just be a couple small things that would change. And when they say small things, I mean they will change whatever they want.
That's basically the part of the commercial for the new drug that lists all of the side effects. Just rattle them off really fast.
In a second, because that's all they legally had to do. I put the quality of beer. They would make the beer lesser. And that's what happened. That's all. They can't get the same cut for the same cost. They got to cut somewhere. And I also said, you can only cut the ingredients, the pricing of your beer, of how you make it, or pay bare minimum to your servers who shouldn't be making bare minimum with all the shit that they deal with at a brewery or a restaurant. Everyone's going around in a circle discussing the contract. Chewy and Truffles seem to be on board with getting rich because it's a lot of money. Sarah's speechless. She says, "Holy fuck!" What the amount of cuss words that this episode had? It's like
they really go for it.
They really do like the normal cussing though. Holy fuck, motherfucker, like just things you would say normally as an adult in Southern California.
Generally.
Yeah. So the founders don't want Ramen to be a big conglomerate thing,
which Will calls out
on board.
Yeah.
He's like, let's do this. This is what for Will. It's like anything new and shiny. He's all about. But Adam is against it because he doesn't want his beer recipes to be changed, and he knows that's the first thing that's going to go, which is going to happen. Adam doesn't want a megacorp coming in and tweaking his beer recipes to increase sales. Sarah's really proud of Adam and Will. Adam doesn't want to be pressured into taking a deal, though. So then Will's like, I got to figure out how to get him to say yes. Will then gives Sarah a bonus from the deal that hasn't been agreed upon, which is the stupidest thing you can fucking do.
A preemptive
Counting
bonus.
Your chickens before your eggs hatch. Don't ever do that.
It's exciting, man. It's an easy mistake to make when you get excited.
Yeah. She's like, she wants to start her own business. She's not really sure. She's like, maybe I'll do a defense class for women and children in Long Beach. And then Will's like, Long Beach is really far away. And,
I'd move there.
Move. Duh.
Which,
seems really
bums him out.
Will seems really upset about it. I think they were finally... I like that they didn't get together in this season.
But I think I like how he handled it, not like immediately just being like, well, why are you doing that?
He was like supportive of her doing her
He was
dream.
disappointed but supportive, which is, a good takeaway for people watching this. Like, you should be supportive of the people you care about.
That reminds me, I used to go
to
this
or not.
brewery next to where I live called OG's. And
there's a brewery. OG's has a brewery?
Or they used to make their own beer. Now they don't.
I was like, I just know them for pizza.
Yeah, that's what they're known for.
At the Padre
the San Diego one the one in Mission Valley near the Qualcomm used to make their own beer. They don't anymore. And they haven't for years. But Lauren was a girl who worked there who was super nice, cool with all the regulars, and then she was moving because she's like, her boyfriend's in San Francisco and they're gonna get married, and everyone's like hates it, and they're like, oh fuck that, you don't need to move, you don't need him. And then when she told me, I was like, holy fuck, that's awesome. And she's like, wow, that's like the best response I got from anyone. Like, you're so good. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna miss you, but I'm being supportive. That's what you want to do. You wouldn't be doing it without not wanting to do it.
I mean, like, if you were doing something that would be a big change, like, you would want that.
You want support.
Yeah.
And I think, Sarah was surprised by Will. I mean, I think they both are waiting for something to happen, but they're too scared to.
It's in the air.
I think Will's afraid of the age difference.
Is that what you think?
I think that's what Will's afraid of. Also, they work together. Like, he's her boss. I think Sarah's afraid that it'll get weird too.
I think
she's not the most mature person.
So for Will, I think like at first he didn't see her that way until that kind of like got put on the table, and then he started like
seeing her.
He was aware of that.
Also, she cares about the business. Yeah. She's super smart and she's a hard worker. Why wouldn't I mean? I totally dig her. She's a cool character.
A cool fictional
I mean,
character.
her acting is top notch. I think she's
Kudos to the actress.
She's
Well,
the best actress.
what's your Carmen Flood?
Yeah, she's the best actor in this whole series. Next to Stogan.
He's
And Friar
a
Lucas.
good character. Okay,
Friar
so
Lucas.
I really like. She's probably
Sarah,
one of the highlights for me.
I like Elvis too.
Elvis.
Elvis.
I like Elvis and Becky. I like Adam a lot.
Adam's good. He's just too pretentious for me.
That's just the character.
I know, but it just
He is played well. I like.
I think the most pretentious people are the ones who talk less, though, because they just don't care about what inferior beer drinkers think.
Say that one more time.
The more pretentious you are, the less you care really about what people say. So you wouldn't even be talking. That's my pretentious beer drinker.
Okay, like a simpler version of what you said should be like on like a brewery style fortune cookie. Right? Is it
The more pretentious you are, the
more pretentious beer drinker you are.
The more silence you pretend.
That feels like something like that.
That's to me. It's like I know some pretentious brewers that are like totally against everything, but making just like normal beer.
Close-minded.
Yeah, and
Elitist close-minded.
I won't even say who they are, but one of them is really good at making these really flavorful stouts, like coffee stouts or peppermint stouts, and he fucking hates it when I tell him, "Oh my god, this beer's so fucking good." He's like, "I don't want to fucking make this beer, but I have to because that's what people want." And even like when you tell him like, "Oh, this lager's really good," he's like, "Yeah," or "This goes is really good." It's like he loves those lighter gozes and lagers and just normal beer. And even when you tell him he did a good job, he's like, "I know, like I'm a good."
Hey man, well,
But he doesn't go around and say to other people, "My beer is amazing." He like if you kind of befriend him a little bit and you talk to him, then he gets a little bit into it. But still, even then, he doesn't talk a lot.
and if you're gonna have an elitist kind of confidence like that, that is the best form of that
your
you can
mouth
have.
shut until someone actually cares enough to ask.
Good. Keep that in mind.
I
That
won't
is
say
good.
who it is, but he's a good guy.
That's
He's
a good way to be
really
if
good
you are
brewer.
that way.
Yeah. I lost my place.
Sorry.
So yeah, Sarah and Will. I really thought they were gonna kiss at some point, but yeah. Anyways, then the next scene is Adam walking with a monocle. when
They set it up, though.
Yeah, they set it up before in the scene. He's like, "I think I would make a really good rich person. I
I'm
have
already almost
4
there."
monocles."
And then he's walking around like the peanut
Mr.
man.
Peanut with a monocle and a cane. Then the VP from Tempest Brands pulls up and he's like, "Hey, we gotta have a little secret meeting." The VP stops Adam walking on the street for a secret meeting. He says he left something out. Adam would be the only brewmaster.
Because Will does not fit the mold.
Will does not fit the standards of Tempest Brands.
I was like, but like, unless I'm misremembering the details,
He messes up.
yeah, he switches the brothers
So
around.
the VP says that your brother doesn't fit our future plans for Rodman's. And the research, they find out that Will is rude to customers, showers with the hose used to clean the kegs, and got banned from Oregon. Adam
If you
is
remember,
that brother. So the VP has mistaken Will and Adam, but not their names, just who they are. And
which I guess is the names.
yeah, Oregon is yeah. So it's easier to have one brew. I think he was saying that because it's easier to have one person sign off than two to agree.
That's there is a line of reasoning behind that.
But we find out later why he even said this. Sarah and Chewy find troubles trying to drink beer from both holes. This was he's hanging from some rope, like in doggy style, I guess, and he has like a bottle up his ass, the dildo bottles from a couple episodes ago, and he's trying to drink a bottle and then suck beer up his asshole like Steve-O.
I would have thought it would have made more sense to like butt chug or something.
I thought it would have made sense to shove it in your asshole and then like lay on your back and do it.
I mean, I'd rather not talk about this, but anyway.
So yeah, we're then at Angel City Brewery. Will and Adam are hanging out. Adam's like, looking at the brewery. Angel City's popping, good beer, having fun. Adam's like, "This is what you want to Will. This is what you want from Rodman's." And Will's like, "Yeah, I want great beer, fun hang, people enjoy themselves." And then it's like, "Well, you just described Rodman's." Adam's trying to talk Will out of not selling, but Will's like fighting every chance he gets. No, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Adam says something I never thought he would say. "I actually enjoy making beer with my brother. I like it, and I don't want outside influence."
Which is the kind of gratifying, just release we were looking for the entire time. Just some way for the brothers to reconcile.
We always knew he was like this, but he was just an asshole about it. Will says, "No, it's too much money," and then Adam says, I will wear the drink. So you're supposed to drink with another person. Will made these 2 backpack drinking pendulums, and then Will's like, "Fuck the money, let's do it."
Which was nice. I like that.
They consolidated,
they consolidated.
I guess kind of.
They consolidated their brotherly bond.
Yeah, because they never really had one.
No.
At the beer festival, they teach. It looks like they're teaching how to brew beer because they have a bunch of grain out, and then
is that what they were doing?
Adam brings up killing, which is roasting the grain a little bit before you brew it.
Stab.
No, killing.
Clinging.
Killing. K-I-L-I-N-G, not K-I-L.
Like when a bunch of crows are grouped together.
I guess, yeah, that's another. But this is where you kind of burn the grain a little bit. It's supposed to bring out a different flavor. I want this drinking pendulum so bad. I think it would be so fun.
I'm still not convinced that it's not some kind of sex toy or something.
It's not, because it's a backpack with the what's supposed to... Well, Chewy says, "Oh, I thought it was a European glory hole."
It looks suspect.
How would someone hang?
I don't want to talk about it or think about it.
It
just looks weird.
If they had enough girth, I guess.
Moving on.
They would get stuck. And then you have to lift it up while I'm
going to snort out your conversation.
All right. They tell Sarah they aren't selling, and Sarah's like, "You're not that dumb." And then they're looking at Sarah, and she's like, "Oh my God, you are that dumb." She then quits. She's like, "I'm done," and leaves. And then Will's like, "Can I get a hug?"
And he ruins it.
Like a high school creep.
Can I get a hug before you go?
But they hug while he's wearing the drink and kind of spills beer all over her. Some girl comes over to the tent and asks about why does Rodman's have 2 tents? In a brewery festival, there you get a little tent where you get like a cooler and you serve your beer. They go check it out and find out Chewy and Truffles sold Rodman's to Tempest Brands.
They pulled a coup.
They stole the Rodman's company, but not really stole because Will forgot to trademark Rodman's and didn't patent the beer recipe.
They did, but they did not submit it.
Yeah, well, no, that's it. He didn't even do it. He wrote it down, but never turned anything in.
With a comically big Post-it note saying, "Remember to do this.
Don't forget to turn this in." They can't believe it. Chewy says he's a businessman and he just had to do the opposite of Adam and Will, which he says in the first episode.
I know that was set up, but I saw that portrayal coming from Truffles, but
well, even Chewy says, he's like, "Dude, I'd rather work for you guys, but I need money."
Right. I get why he did it, but I was just like, I didn't want to believe he did it. I was like, come on, man.
I didn't see it coming that long of a way. Mm-hmm. 8 episodes, basically from episode 1 to 8, 7, I guess, or 6. But it was the long con, and Adam even says, I respect you for that.
Yeah.
And Truffles took Friar Lucas, and then Will's like, "I don't even have my dog." And then Truffles like, "Well, it's a loan from the monastery." And I'm like,
"But you're not even part
of the monastery, so it's not even your dog either."
Truly cementing himself as a dick.
Will and Adam, it gets even better, ladies and gentlemen. Will and Adam start fighting. Adam says Tempest only wants him, so he did this to protect him. Will says he told Tempest Brand to tell Adam that they only wanted one brother to stroke Adam's ego so that he would sell. Then Will would go to Tempest Brands and beg for his job, faking it because they wanted both brothers. They wanted the brand. So they basically fucked themselves.
Just conned each other
all Will had to do was just go and sell it himself. Adam probably would have come on board no matter what, or left. Either way, everything's better than it is now.
I'm like, but that whole exchange, I was like, yeah, so the only person that really showed any growth from that whole thing was Adam, because he's the only one that didn't react the way that anybody thought he would.
Yeah, Will shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, for what dick move, but that sounds like, if you like analyze it, you're like, okay, that feels like an underhanded way to like twist his brother's arm into doing something he wants.
It's a very Adam thing to do.
Yeah,
but
coming from Will.
Yeah,
but
Adam was like,
suits him though.
Adam was the very Will character. He was like, no, I want to tell my brother. And did he mean it because he was scared? Like, we don't really. He probably meant what he said, but he was also probably scared that Tempest Brands was going to fire him as soon as they signed.
Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know.
I like to think that he just actually had some compassion,
though, because I thought it was going to be one way. Like I said, maybe Tempest Brands just trying to split them up, but no, it was Will.
It's Will's fault.
They then see a fire, and their tent is on fire. Adam says he will never work with Will again, and leaves. Will goes back to the brewery, and already it's under construction.
They're pulling out the old stuff and
I was
putting
like,
in
wait,
the new.
There's a lease, like there's contracts, and then the landlord's like, you
had some health violations.
Yeah, some health violations because they were keeping the old
which was shown
the
a little
old
earlier.
wort, which you give to farmers because they can feed when the beer's done brewing, it's all the grain and stuff left over. You can give it to farmers, and their animals will eat it because there's so much nutrition still left in it. But they were just keeping it
storing
in a fucking closet, getting molded. So the landlord ripped up the contract because he violated it. Will then gets kicked out of the brewery, walking the street with some of his stuff still wearing the drinking palindrome. He ends up going back to Adam's new place because he has nowhere else to go, and it's kind of like a flip-flop.
It is.
It's a complete flip-flop, but Will is way more depressed than Adam was.
Well, he literally had everything taken.
Everything. And I felt so bad. So Adam's like, fuck it, let's open another brewery. Right there and then. Adam jokes about selling his Stein collection, but I think he kind of meant it because he's like, we're not going to have any other money. And his Stein collection looks pretty pristine.
I was like, "Oh, you thought he was joking? I thought he meant it. He seemed pretty sincere that whole time." He meant it
the first time, but then said, "No, I'm tired of being the good guy."
Oh,
right after Sarah shows up, and he's like, "Hey, does anyone want to pack a 6-pack of Tempest Brand Rodman's brew?" And it's like a 6-pack of their beer. Everyone's like, "Too soon." Sarah then admits that she wants to start a brewery because every time she thinks about starting a business, it leads back to
she actually likes
working at a brewery.
Beer. Yeah,
she will start a brewery with them only if they're equal partners.
3 equal partners.
Not no 100 them 0 her. She's the partner,
and she's in charge of all the business.
Yeah, which is better than
venture stuff,
them, yeah.
Right?
Like I said before, Adam probably a great brewer. Sarah, great business person. Will
is there
the social face. I think he's the face of it.
I was like, he's also a good brewer. I think.
I mean, he did win the best beer with his brother for the first distributor. But I think he's more of like what you want to see was when you walk in and you meet the owner.
He is
also Sarah's just angry and Adam's an asshole.
He is like the emotional part, whereas Adam is the analytical.
Yeah, and Sarah's just the smart one.
Business savvy.
But then Adam and Will are like, oh, we're burnt out. I mean, they just lost everything. Like, everything. And Adam's like, oh, I need to be around great brewers to get beer inspiration. So Will's like, I know where we can go.
And
so they take what I call take a beer inspiration vacation to the monastery where Will learned how to brew beer in the first place. The same monastery where the monks from Monk Monday.
Ta-da!
So there's a great fucking bit where Will's walking on a little fucking bridge in a pond and he falls straight into it. I don't think that was planned.
That definitely seemed like
because he's just like shaking his head, and then Sarah looks shocked, and then
that he
actually fell.
That seemed like an outtake that made it into the final cut.
They knock on the door of the monastery, and it's the father. And then as they walk in, Adam's like, Sarah wants to be initiated," and he's like, "Get the brewing pipe."
What's that?
And it's that same pipe that you pour beer down into over someone's ass into your mouth. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Brews Brothers Netflix original series.
Season 1.
Hopefully there's a season 2, because that's the best way to end. There were so many flips and turns.
That is a great jumping off place for further stuff.
For me, it was the best Netflix original series ending to a next season, hopefully. It went one way. You thought it was going in one way, then it didn't. Then there was a fucking coup, and then they were like, "Oh, we should start another brewery," which is great. Like, that's a great idea. And then they're like, "No, wait, let's bring back characters from episode 4,
like 3, 4,
5." Really creative to me.
I was like, I don't agree, but I did like the ending.
Can't think of a better ending for a Netflix original series.
I think I watch more stuff than you do.
Money Heist. Isabel likes that show a lot.
Money Heist?
That Spanish Money Heist show.
Isn't that Eddie Murphy movie? No. Where they rob a bank and
Simpson. Overall,
good show.
I think it was a better show than people thought, because on IMDb and all the reviews, people shit on the show.
Kind of bashed it.
As being somewhat of a craft beer drinker
in the world,
a little bit about craft beer. I don't think I know a lot. I think the show is overbearing, a little over the top. But after the fifth, I even say 6, 7, 8, even maybe the 5th episode, they were really good episodes. There was little craft beer jokes, but some stuff was a little overbearing, like the peeing in the beer. I just got turned off by that. No one's going to do that. But showing breweries and showing a little bit of how a brewery works, I think was good. I think there's that niche, it's like a slice of life niche thing. But it's funny if you don't know it, because it's still about two brothers that absolutely can't work together. And at the end, they do work together. It's like real grows on you a little bit. And you kind of fall, not in love with the characters, but you grow on them, with them,
so
into them.
So if you were to give it a rating,
I would do a 7.8 out of 10.
7.8 out of 10.
Not an 8. I would give it an 8, but it's not. That's a little high. So 7 or 8 for me.
Okay. Well, for me, being, I do like beer as well, but I would say I'm definitely less of a beer enthusiast as opposed to David over here. I do like it, but
I think you like the fact that there's not one thing tastes the same. You like the flavors, but I think you like roasty.
I'll save that for another day. But I did like this show. I definitely like the dynamic that they had between everybody. The fact that it was the two brothers are very passionate about beer, but in very different ways.
I think you said it right. Analytical and not.
One is very very much from the mind, he's a perfectionist type, and the other one
matters,
is
nothing else matters. And then Will's no, it's about the hang.
How do we emotionally connect to the beer, but less assholey I just did it.
Yeah, that was wow, that was so gross.
He's never talking to me like that. I'm gonna kill him. But yeah, I know I've mentioned this the past couple episodes, but I feel there's, just me personally, I know it's not like that for everybody. I feel there's a little bit of an over reliance on body gags.
It gets a little gross.
A little gross out humor.
The glass dildo bottle. That to me doesn't have to do that.
Me personally, I can only take I take it in segments at a time, but I know that there's an audience for that, which I'm like, fine.
The weird part, 7 and 8, like other than the ball sack, they really didn't have much else.
Yeah, there was some stuff in there, but like it was not distractingly so.
Like the dildo beer bottle, that was distracting. Anytime Chewie talks about jacking off to anything. But for the most part, it was those last 3 episodes that were, I think, the better writing. And me and Sam said this before. 1 and 2, info. 3, 5, kind of like filler, slice of life. 6, 7, 8, the arc really took like from, hey, they're doing okay to, hey, they're doing good. The only thing is I wish there was 2 more episodes so we can see that brewery growth, because it just doesn't happen like that. It grows over time. And I wish they showed more of interaction between regulars, because there was no regulars. It was founders and then random people.
So for me, I would say throughout, I felt like there was like a little bit of like a pacing issue, because like understandably, like 1 and 2, that's where they're like, you know, getting all the setup, putting all the pieces in place and whatnot. But like you were saying, kind of like 3, 4, kind of like middling episodes, like they're just kind of there. But then it definitely picks up steam, and I feel like they kind of hit their stride like come 6, 7, 8.
They would be able to pick their stride every episode if they made we need to pay rent, because that's what all small breweries need to do.
Which definitely was a part of it, but I feel like they could have put more.
It was the part of it. Then they kind of just like
it kind of fell off. Yeah.
Even though they were making money, I think paying rent is, even for you and me. Like we have jobs, we have money, we know we're going to pay rent, but it's still a worry. And I think they could connect more to the breweries all over Southern California to that.
But what was I going to say? I lost my train.
What's your rating?
Well, hold on. But yeah, I feel like it definitely kind of like hit its stride 6, 7, 8. If I were like, okay, full disclosure, I'll get the rating out of the way, but I would give it 7 full steins out of 10.
7 Adams.
So it's definitely 7 Adams. 7 Adams and a half Wills
which is 0.2 Adams.
But it's a solid show. I would recommend this, especially.
It's not the worst Netflix original
series
show.
There's certainly worse stuff.
And I'm shocked that people don't like it. Yeah, it's pretentious. If you're a brewer, you probably wouldn't like it. But I think some brewers would be like, oh, that's, the other side. Like, this is how we're portrayed.
But, yeah, I would definitely say if you are a beer person, there is beer humor in here, but it is also kind of a little more broad. So, like, if you're a little less into it, like, there's stuff to get.
They had a niche topic that they wanted to have the masses like, which is very hard to do.
Another note: if we were to give any notes to them before this had come out, I would say maybe like cut episodes 3 and 4, shift everything up, and then write an extra 2 episodes just to kind of like, get a little more even.
I think even put 8 as 10, and
put a couple in between.
And put one in between there, because 8. The last episode was a great last episode. It should be the last episode. So many twists and turns, like even a traitor. And there was another flip, and then an even bigger flip. Like it had everything. Like it was full circle, and it did it really well. But like you said, 3 and 4 were just a little.
Like there's stuff in there for sure, but take elements of those, and you could have slotted stuff into better episodes.
And I think one thing they did really well was doing like the scene changes or the sequence changes, where they go from one sequence and show a little like 10 seconds of brewery stuff. Like,
those transitions.
They're doing the brewery, doing the host. I think those transitions, if you do at least 3, and you do like some cool like shots of beer being poured, I think people would like that a little more.
Good use of beer-themed B-roll transitioning.
Yeah, I think that appeals to the masses, because then they're like, they see a little bit behind the scenes, or like more behind the scenes, like actually showing the brewing process, because most of it's just cleaning.
And general rule of thumb, if you're picking up a new show and they don't catch you within like the first episode or 2, I would say like that's well enough. But for this one, I would say
Go into 2.
Give it a little more time. It's a grower.
Only 25 minutes. They're not even an hour.
Yeah, so it's short enough. It's not like you're committing an hour per episode.
Yeah,
so
commit an hour for the first 2, and if you don't like it, then stop. But
yeah. But this one,
by then you'll be a little intrigued.
Yeah.
Get through it, but 6, 7, and 8 was a 3-pointer.
Yeah,
for me.
that definitely elevated the show for me.
I would have been like 5 if the last 3 episodes 5 stars. Like, no, this was a bad show, but those really, really worked well.
Mm-hmm. So, good job, Brews Brothers.
Yeah, good job, Greg Schaffer from the League and his brother from Curb Enthusiasm, I think. And Seinfeld, I think one of them worked on Seinfeld. So I see
really?
I see the slice of life
didn't
aspect.
know that.
It's too niche. It needs to be more general, or go even more niche. It needs to find where it's going. But I really hope for a second season, because how do you Chewy and Truffles versus Adam and Will and Sarah?
Everybody's in interesting places
Where
right now.
are the founders? Are the founders going to be like, hey, we're going to give you money to start the brewery?
Or are they just going to stick with the new place?
Will they start a brewery?
Yeah. Who knows?
Can we get regulars? Can I be a regular? I would, yeah.
We're close enough.
Me and Sam just drinking beer. Hey!
Make us the new founders for the new brewery.
Yeah. And then, because me and Sam would be like, fuck the Rodmans. Fuck that fucking bullshit Tempest brand.
Say whatever.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Sam follows my lead.
That would probably be the dynamic.
Every single time I order a beer, he's like, he doesn't even, they ask him what he wants. He's like, I'll just have what he's having.
Like, you didn't even get a menu.
Yeah.
Just whatever he gets.
Anything else, buddy?
That's it, man.
All
Brews
right.
Brothers.
Yeah,
check it out.
Brothers. Check it out. Thank you for watching.
Keep drinking, keep listening. Beer Me That Beer is a San Diego-based craft beer YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and podcast show.
And for more of us, check out beardmethatbeer.com. That's beardmethatbeer.com. If you want to reach out directly to us, email us at bmtbinfo@gmail.com. That's bmtbinfo@gmail.com.